Hey there guys, how's it going? So we have a fair bit of new content to talk about in the game today, both inside the game and an external server we can talk about. Lots and lots to go over, so let's not waste any time. First of all, there is a farmable medal event added to the game for the first time in forever. It seems like a long time, and what's really cool is these are medals that were previously exclusive to Japan, and they were in a banner. You had to actually pull for these things. Now available to us to farm for free, which is really cool. I don't think it's ever happened since Jack Skellington, I don't think, which was near the launch of the, relatively near the launch of the game. How long ago that was, so it's really cool. I would go ahead and equip item drop perks like crazy on your character. You can see here, Mr. Ugly Outfit over here has a plus 18 perk to him, like item drop perk, and I have noticed a little bit of a difference being made. The quest that drops these brand new medals seems to have quite a low drop rate, so if you can improve that in any way, shape possible with the item drop perk, that would definitely help. Especially your pet obviously want to have at max level in almost every scenario, and this time is no exception, to get that Steel 2 perk and try and double or triple the amount of drops you're going to get from these quests. I ran through each of them once, and then I've been running through this third one quite a few times in repeat, just to try and get all the medals to drop. I've got all but one of the medals to drop so far, and by that I mean they can drop in either the 5 or 6 star versions. I want to fill out the album obviously, so I want to get the 5 and the 6 star versions for each of these, and I think I'm only missing one 5 star at that rate. So just keep going through, I guess, this quest over and over again. I assume, given that it has the highest level, it probably has the highest drop rates, but I haven't actually been able to corroborate that yet with anything. These are the 5 medals that you do go ahead and get with that. So you have obviously 5 Beauty and the Beast themed medals. The reasoning behind that is because these medals were released initially only in the Japanese version, I guess to promote awareness about the Beauty and the Beast live action film starring Emma Watson in its Japanese cinema release. So I guess that was probably the reason why it didn't really make too much sense to release these medals in the West, given that the film had already come and gone from cinemas by that point, and I don't know, I suppose they could have done it for the DVD launch or something, who knows, but for whatever reason they chose not to. It's really interesting because these medals were pullable and would act as high score percentage medals for this medal right here. So this medal right here was a tier 5 medal. It was a speed version of these two medals right here, so you illustrated Terra B and 0.2 Donald and Goofy, so again a speed version of that. Quite powerful tier 5 single target medal, the Sora and Beast that you see right there. Who knows if we're going to get this as well. I'm sort of theorizing that in the past we've had sort of catch-up medal deals where we've had a banner that introduces like tons of medals that we just sort of skipped over for whatever reason in the Japanese version. I'm thinking that we could potentially see that medal right there, the Beauty and the Beast one, alongside medals like Cloud and Leon, Nick and Judy B, you know, medals like that, for example, appearing in one big smooshed banner together. And if that sort of banner happens, I could very much see myself pulling for a banner like that. So yeah, go ahead and get your 30 Nova points from fully guilting out all these medals, evolve them to 7 stars if you like. They're not really the most amazing medals in the game, but they could definitely help you out with the new challenges that we've got for tier 3 only medals, potentially, given that they are pretty decent buffers, even if they only last for 2 or 3 attacks. Anyway, the next big thing I want to talk about is the biggest potential bait banner in the game. On the podcast the other day with Lost Predictions and his friends, we were talking a little bit about, okay, what is the next 6 star medal, or tier 6 medal rather, they're going to release, and I was like, it's got to be Sephiroth, right? If they go ahead and release Sephiroth, that'll catch everyone, that'll catch absolutely everyone. And sure enough, what was the next medal they released? Really interesting deal. If not for the fact that you don't get any trait medals, you don't get the 6 star version of this medal along with it, I might almost see myself pulling on this just because of how freaking cool this medal is. Again, it's definitely outdated, definitely lives past its potential usefulness, with an asterisk behind that. I will say, playing the regular PvE Coliseum, which I guess I will admit I've forgotten a little bit about lately just because of how important PvP has become. The importance of AoE medals has not really diminished there. AoE medals really still do dominate the Coliseum. Of course, there are some rounds where you only verse one really strong opponent with really high, you know, damage output, what have you, and HP, which require insanely strong single target medals to take care of. But if you're trying to progress, it's better to avoid those rounds, especially if you're a quote-unquote weaker player like myself. It's better to avoid those rounds and just hit up the AoE ones that you can one turn and just leapfrog over people like that. And for that reason, AoE medals still definitely have some use. So I can pull up the graph right here, again in terms of power for Sephiroth EX. Hey guys. So hopefully you guys can see there, this is the tier 6 medals smack bang in the middle there. So you've got the tier 5 sitting there on the left. So if you just go ahead and have a little peek there, You've got the latest 3 primes to be released, the Riku vs Roxas, Sora vs Roxas, and Roxas Prime sitting there. And if you go ahead just to the side here, you'll see that a little bit above King's Roar and 0.2 Sora is Roxas EX, Sephiroth EX, and Xion EX, sitting just below Final Boss Xion and 0.2 Terra. So again, they are quite powerful medals. Again, in the grand scheme of things, obviously they're weaker than Tier 8s, but it's much harder to evolve an AoE Tier 8 medal, and much harder to justify it, given that Tier 8 fairies are so rare, and you really do want to spend those, in my opinion, on single target Tier 8 medals. Like, there's no contest. You wouldn't want to upgrade a stained glass medal before you want to upgrade, you know, like a Bob and Jack, just for example. And for 15,000 jewels to have one of these like extremely powerful medals, that is really tempting. But you've got to remember, if you could do a similar pull off a Prime Metal Deer, for example, and do your 5 pulls, which give you 5 traits along with that, you're going to end up with a more powerful medal in the long run. And of course, Sephiroth EX gets so many points just for how goddamn cool this medal is. It's such a sick medal. I think I made a video forever ago going like, this is the coolest looking medal in the game. That was forever and ever ago. And it's still true. I mean, it's got the music that comes along with it, that beautiful One Wings Angel. It looks amazing. It's got one single target hit, one single hit per cast, meaning that it's an ace in high score challenges. And honestly, if I was in a more frivolous mood, I could honestly see myself pulling for it. Again, the fact that it doesn't come with any traits just sort of lets it down. I mean, if you think about, the global developers aren't the developers behind this game, right? They're more or less, not to be insulting or anything, but they're more or less a translating team more so than they are developers. So to make a trait medal for Sephiroth EX here, they'd first have to develop a trait medal for Sephiroth EX in the Japanese version, which, if you guys weren't aware, they haven't actually been having any of these deals in the Japanese version. These quote-unquote bait banners, as I've been calling them, the Sephiroth, the Roxas Art EX, the Final Boss Xion, have all been for the global version only, and therefore, the reason they haven't come with any trait medals is because the Japanese version hasn't decided to make any. That would be on the global team to make them, and obviously they're not going to do that because, I don't know, potentially they don't know that... I don't want to cast any accusations here, but I doubt they have the same depth of knowledge about the game that the Japanese development team actually does. So, what I'm trying to say is, man, this is your game. This is 100% your game. If you want to go ahead and pull for this thing, I'm not going to stop you, but just be aware, Japanese anniversary is days away, only days away, and this is exactly the kind of like supreme bait that I know it's bait, but I'm like, man, wouldn't that be cool? Man, wouldn't that just be so cool to have a Sephiroth EX? Anyway, one last awesome thing we can talk about is the survey. Okay, so finally we have the survey that they promised a long time ago coming out now for us to fully fill out. The big, really cool thing behind this is that every player that... Alrighty, so we finally have the survey that they promised available to fill out for us. The really cool thing about it is every single account that fills it out, and really importantly, enters in their player ID in this box right here. Make sure you enter in the correct ID, obviously. Is that any of those accounts will be awarded 3,000 jewels at a later date, which is really nice. Part of me thinks that might come around the same time that JP's getting their anniversary rewards, so that we won't feel like, oh, we're missing out, and cause a big bitch and stink. But I don't know, who knows when it's going to come out. It might not come out for a few weeks. Anyway, point is, it's an interesting survey. It's not quite as open as I might have liked it to be, but there are certainly some interesting things about it. I think it's in response mostly to the complaints about PvP, so a couple, like, one of the big questions is referring to PvP. So we'll go through it in order, let's say. Obviously put your correct ID in. The first question here, I guess they're trying to gauge how, like, new to the fan base you are, new to the game you are, like whether you're a player that's come in recently or has been with it for the long haul. I really do find it interesting how many players may have dropped off over, you know, whatever sort of period of time. I mean, it's interesting though, because I've been playing since launch 2016 is one of the answers, but I actually fall in between these two because I've been playing since the day it launched in the global version, not just the North American, which is a little bit after that. So I mean, I feel like I can say I've been playing since launch, because I have, technically, just not the American launch. Then the rating scale, so I don't know what that really means in terms of how much they're actually going to give a damn about it. I'm not thrilled about everything they've been doing lately, but on the plus side, you know what? The advent of getting some critical quests in the game actually kind of excites me, like, to really have a test of all of your skills. Oh, sorry. I'm sort of theorizing that, and we theorized on the podcast again, that maybe this critical mode is like that they added into the summer adventure is something of a test that they might, who knows, add into the full story set of quests again. So they could make us go through all the story quests one more time, put out just like a super difficult mode where it's got the time limit attached to it, it's got really powerful medals attached to it, and a Force Keyblade, which, I don't know, it could be another really strong source of rewards. It could be another, you know, however many jewels each month if they do a critical quest update each month. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of keen on the idea just for more things to do in the game. So I'm looking forward to that, but of course things like whenever they try and bait players, and I see that as real bait, or trying to be like really predatory, I kind of get like a really weird feeling in my stomach. Like, those VIP boards were just nasty. They were really just nasty. And bait banners, like, a player like me can sort of laugh at a bait banner and look, have the numbers right in front of me and go, okay, well, it is a quote-unquote good medal, but it makes more mathematical sense for me to afford this medal at a later date or an earlier point or what have you, and so therefore I'm going to save my jewels. But when I see them trying to intentionally bait out newer players or ones that aren't really aware of the game as much as someone like me, it's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of shitty, but I don't know. Like, I laugh at it and I go, okay, great, I can save my jewels for another 3 days. But then I see a new player pulling for, like, I don't know, Illustrated Aqua B, which is a good medal in its own right, but it would have been a lot better for their game maybe to pull off a Prime banner. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. So I'm sitting at, let's say, a 7 right now. Next question. It's really interesting because I got into Union Cross for the story, right? I'm a huge nut about Kingdom Hearts, you know, as a series, and I've got to play every entry in the series. I don't have a choice. I even tried to play the key version forever ago on the Japanese browsers before. I think I started on their 1 year anniversary by the time I could finally like make a Japanese Yahoo account and finally get in. And I only stuck with it for like a few weeks before I was like what am I doing? So yeah, I'm definitely in it for the story, but unfortunately they haven't really had any story lately. Like, I was so keen on the Summer Adventure thinking like, are we finally, like, maybe putting my hopes up a little too high, but are we finally going to get some, I don't know, story behind the new Union leaders and what the hell's going on? And it turned into this weird little adventure where everyone was disappearing, but then we went to find our friends and we found the friends that went missing. We didn't find anyone else. We didn't find any of the other players that disappeared. We just sort of went into the darkness and killed a couple Heartless and came back out. I don't know, it didn't really, unless I missed something, it didn't really seem to have any larger plot implications. So as much as I really want to focus on story events and I hope they put out more story for it, lately I've been trying to play quote-unquote competitively and get, you know, all the different medals, trying to get the best ones evolved to 7-star. I don't know, I feel like I'm going to answer story just because I want the game to go that way, but, you know, who knows how much a difference one vote makes. Now here is the two that I really find the most interesting, because we have an opportunity here to really be loud and clear as a community. What I'm sort of thinking is, we could either have everyone answering in their own special way, and that's completely fine, like answering in their own how they feel. Or, hear me out here, what if we sort of came together as a community and wrote down one clear response, clear, concise, and say the things we like about it, because honestly there are a lot of things I like about this game. I come back to it every single day, and I wouldn't do that if I didn't genuinely enjoying playing it and making content for you guys. But of course it always has some problems, so I'm thinking, what if we, I don't know, if the community developers and the people that are actually going to read this thing just get hit with the same or different versions of, you guys suck, we want this, you guys suck, we want this, over and over again. It's probably not the best feeling, you know what? People that are making this game are human, guys. I know sometimes it's, you guys, as much as I love you, I see you guys on Twitter, and every time they put out a new tweet going, you know, this banner's coming out, this is happening, that's happening, even when it's like, here's a dual reward, half of you guys are like, blah, 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 yeah, but what about this? And it's like, I don't know, if you were like giving out news to people all the time, and it's like not even your own decision, if it was just news that was handed down to you from the higher ups in your company, and you had to be the one handing it out, and you just got back, boo, constantly, wouldn't you just be like, man, screw these guys, I'm gonna forget about them, forget about trying to make things better for them, and pass on, you know, impassioned direct feedback back to my higher ups. I'd be like, nah, sod them, I'll go talk to the Brave Exvius team, or whatever other Square Enix game that I'm sure they have, you know, 5 to 10 games under their belt that they're working on. So, I don't know, all I'm trying to say is just remember that there are people behind these surveys before you go and just sledge them. Anyway, what that means is, if we could write some sort of like community agreed upon, like consensus, so like response to this, we have 510 characters for each of these boxes, and we could come together and say, look, okay, here's the things we like about it, and respectfully, here are the things we don't like about it, but here are suggestions for change. as one clear, concise message, and we, then copy and paste that and pop that into these boxes right here. Maybe that would make more of an impact, like getting the same unified response. So like they'll go, okay, well the community, or at least a subsection of the community, seems to really want this, rather than some scattered opinion. I don't know. If you have your own opinions, please, by all means, especially if this does end up happening, we do get like a community together, and you disagree with it, put your own thing in. For goodness sake, this is not trying to get you to sway your opinion if you feel a certain way about it. I was only just thinking, like, if they get a lot of the same responses in a not sugarcoating way, but a clear, direct, here's what we have a problem with, here's why we have a problem with it, here's our suggestion for change, maybe that would be more impactful than, I don't know. I think as a group, we're stronger than if we were separate voices, even if they were saying basically the same thing. I don't know. That's my idea. If you disagree with it, by all means, tell me why you disagree with it, because I want to hear it. I haven't answered it yet because I'm thinking, like, would it be better if we answered together as a community? So, let me know what you think about that. And again, these last two questions here make me think, okay, a lot of the survey is in direct response to the PvP update, not necessarily the state of the game as a whole. So I would have maybe liked a few other questions just about, like, leave any other feedback about the game or suggestions for change, perhaps. But, this is the survey that we have. In terms of these questions here, what improvements in-game would you prefer to take priority in PvP? Me personally, I think quality of rewards and distribution of rewards would be a huge one, just because, again, the players at the bottom are never going to be able to catch up if, this may be like an in-boss control thing, but they go ahead, get 3,000 jewels, and immediately spend it on whatever banner's available. They don't save up for the really cool big prime banners, for example, and then they don't get any rewards. They only get bronze tickets, which just suck, and you only get tier 1s, 2s, and 3s out of it, and can never get further than that. Again, the thing that's been echoed out throughout all of the community is silver tickets, bump them up to minimum 4 stars, maybe make it a little bit easier to get. 4s and 5s, not too bad. 6s and 7s, you got a decent chance, and obviously 8s, you have the tiny little chance that you do have, but obviously preserve that. I don't know. Make them more available, and not just the VIP players. Obviously I'm biased as being a free-to-play, but it'd be really nice to see them available in different ways, and I'm sure they will be. It's like every unique currency system that's the new game-breaking thing, whether it's brooms, whether it's gems, what have you, always starts out extremely rare and then gets spread out eventually, to the point where we have, brooms and Coliseum boards right now. I'm really happy about that. We have a Mickey room available every month from the raid board. I'm super happy about that. It's a sort of thing where eventually they will be distributed. We might just have to wait this out. The only difference in this time is just there is such a crazy amount of power to be gained by upgrading the strongest medals, and it's the point of the strongest players can absolutely solidify themselves in top spot. You get the high score challenge medals that have multipliers so far away from every other medal, and they have like extra attack and ground on it, for example. They're not moving. They are staying at the top, and they aren't coming down. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess the last question there, any other titles you enjoy? Maybe they want to look at other titles and be like, okay, why do they enjoy these mechanics, what have you? I don't really play any other mobile games, especially any other gacha games, so I guess I'll play Pokemon Go. Does that count as a gacha? I don't know. So I guess I'll put Pokemon Go in there. I thought I was going to have to leave that blank. Tell me what other questions you might have liked in the survey. Again, I would have liked something just so general improvements we might like, I don't know, I made a video about it forever ago, but I would love to see raid boards, for example, or any of the boards. You can select however many nodes you have the coins for, and then press unlock all, or unlock as many as possible, or whatever. It takes so, the load times have definitely gotten better, it helps a lot, but just tiny little quality of life things, which I like to see in the game. And I'd love to hear any of your suggestions for that as well. Anyway guys, I think that's about it. Definitely do this survey, get your 3,000 jewels. Hop on the Discord, I'm going to make a channel, talk with the admins, and be like, maybe as a community we could write some sort of answer to those two big questions up there, and if that'd help, maybe it'd help, I don't know. If not, if you're not interested in that, let me know why. I really want to hear about it. So anyway guys, Anniversary is coming out super soon. If you do pull for Sephiroth, let me see it, because I want to see it in all its glory. Anyway guys, good to talk to you. All the best. See you soon.